Alfred Hitchcock's 1958 movie Vertigo was recently voted the best movie of all time by Sight and Sound magazine. Though when it was released, it was thought to be a box office failure. One of the people I had a chance to talk about this unusual movie with was novelist and film critic Jeffrey Overstreet.
Well, it's interesting. I watched it very recently, and it was a completely different experience for me than it had been before. I think partly because of recent events, our political context, uh, dominant cultural dialogue. But what I saw this time was not a murder mystery about a detective trying to get to the bottom of something. What I saw was a story about a detective who knows his time is about up and he's feeling nostalgic for his greatest accomplishments. He's feeling nostalgic for his youth. And so it becomes a story of a man who, when he's not able to solve a problem the way he's accustomed to solving a problem, when he's not able to perhaps seduce a woman the way he's accustomed to seducing a woman, he becomes a little desperate.
This desperate, weak, and abusive protagonist might be one reason why the movie was initially a box office disappointment. When I watched Vertigo with my family, my grandmother noted that it wasn't one of her favorite movies.
It is so unusual compared to movies today. I like movies that have a more realistic approach, and that because of the plot where the husband is trying to, fool her into thinking all these strange things, phenomena, it it just didn't ring true to me.
I mean, like I said before, this is a genre film. It's a murder mystery. It's a detective story. But then it undercuts so much of what we've come to expect. And this is typical of Hitchcock films. He loved to take what we expected and twist it. He actually said that his primary goal, his chief delight, I believe were his words, was to make the audience suffer. So he would give you a lot of conventionality, and then he would distort it in some way to make you uncomfortable, and sometimes to make you see the problem with your own assumptions.
When you showed Vertigo to Seattle Pacific University students, it especially seemed to strike a chord with the woman in the audience.
Yeah.
And why do you think that was?
Well, to tell you the truth, that was a class of 20 students, 18 of whom were women. And so I think it's fair to say the whole room was squirming watching this movie. The two men in the class, the students who were men in the class, were squirming as well because they could tell how uncomfortable Detective Ferguson was making their female classmates with his aggressive advances on the character played by Kim Novak. The way he would grab her and shake her, the way he would become sort of dictatorial about even what kind of lipstick she wore. These scenes are play for us today as incredibly violent and unfair. Some kind of monster is waking up in this character.
I believe one of the reasons that Vertigo has been more widely appreciated since its initial release is because today's audience sees the bigger message that it communicates about human relationships and the emotional baggage that can come with them.
To me, it's a movie of obsession, and uh, and for me, I think I was really drawn in particular to the um, Jimmy Stewart and Kim Novak interaction. I felt like it was a psychological movie where the first part of the movie I felt drawn into the curiosity and mystery about Madeline, and then in the next part, I mean, I was creeped out by Jimmy Stewart and and just the fact that he looked like he was really controlling over her character.
Recently, I had the good fortune to attend a 6-hour cinema dissection on Vertigo that was held by the Seattle International Film Festival. The analysis was led by attorney and film lecturer Robert Kumbau. During an intermission, I asked him what he thought the film has to say to today's audiences.
It has a great deal to say about how men treat women, how men regard women, or at least how men like this man regard women, and what inner problems those men may have that they're trying to resolve in not realizing that a woman is a distinct human being from the consciousness of the man.
I think it is this aspect of Vertigo that is key to its still strong emotional power. It is a haunting film, one that inspires deep thought long after you've left the theater.
The general feeling that the movie creates, it's sort of disturbing for me. I think it's an uncomfortable movie to watch, but I think in some ways it's uncomfortable because it raises some difficult questions that everybody has to work through, but how free we are from our past, and it's thought-provoking, especially at a time where a lot of contemporary movies don't invite a lot of really deep reflection. I think it's a good experience watching a movie that actually benefits from some deep thought.
God have mercy.